With Stage 2 of the Blast Rainbow Six Siege season right around the corner, we get to see how teams and regions adapt to not one, but 2 new seasons worth of changes to the competitive meta, as well as an updated map pool, with Oregon being replaced with Lair. But before we get there, we have the mid-year trade period to get through. Yep, my first rostermania video, and I'm leaving it to the very last minute to cover as much as I can. I must be an absolute fucking masochist if I'm doing this to myself repeatedly. Now, I'm only going to be covering the Tier 1 leagues with moves that have been confirmed at the time of recording. However, if a rumor sounds more than a little enticing, I will make a mention of it, but it is to be taken with a pinch of salt. Also, I apologize for the sound of my voice. I'm just coming off a flu, and I don't sound 100%, so I apologize in advance. But with that out of the way, let's begin with Europe, because 1, their Stage 2 starts at midnight tonight my time, and 2, by God, did some bombs drop. Beginning with G2, and I have one simple question.
What were they thinking?
18 months from their incredible SI win in Montreal, and this org is in freefall. So not only do they decide to drop their analyst in Titan, but they also decide to drop Benjamaster and Virtue, their oldest and arguably most experienced gunner. But as much as them leaving doesn't make a lot of sense, their new pickups in Blaz and Laura make even less sense. As good as it is to see Blaz with a new home and actually playing this stage instead of just being a glorified sub in Mina, he and Laura have some big shoes to fill. And I'm not 100% certain they can fill it. The other big bomb to come out of Europe comes courtesy of the Wolves, and it feels like what they're doing is similar to what BDS did before Stage 1 when they dropped LMs and Renshiro for Solotov and users, which almost worked for them. However, what has me a little concerned for the Wolves is whether the new boys have what it takes to pick up the slack in Shinka and Bibu's collective absence. Both Asa and Lasmu have been hanging around the T2 scene in Europe for about 2 years now, and it is nice to see upcoming talent get their chance at the top flight of competition. But whether this translates into the Wolves moving up the rankings remains to be seen. However, I'm willing to let Lee Loon and Co. cook a little bit longer. There may be something to this. It's definitely a watch this space type scenario. Moving over to ENCE, and on paper it feels like their moves are a step in the right direction. Former BDS star Renshiro finds himself a new home alongside Bolt at ENCE in place for the outgoing Jackson Frenchie. Having someone of Olympus' experience should be more than enough to help elevate this roster up the rankings, and is definitely going to be a boon for these boys. With Skies being the 3rd highest rated player overall in Stage 1 and 2nd highest on entry, there's definitely some firepower in this lineup, but can they convert it into some solid results for Stage 2? Time will tell. Moving over to Team Secret, and these guys have quite possibly the biggest glow up in Europe during Stage 1. These guys blew away everyone during their Manchester run right up until the quarterfinals. However, the departure of Miracle and benching Grubby does seem a bit strange on the outset, but the inclusion of Virtue from G2 should more than help stabilize the ship. No word as of yet who their 5th is going to be, as that is currently unreleased at this point, but let's hope Secret can make the right call and continue their impressive run from Stage 1 and Manchester. It's definitely another case of watch this space. Moving over to Team Wild, and I'm not sure what to make of this new lineup. Packball being dropped only to be re-signed mere hours before the squad lock-in definitely lines up with some of the strangest decisions made in this trade period. Nello moving over from player to coach might help provide some stability, but Kanto's absence may or may not be missed, as he was the worst ranked player in Yule for Stage 1. But his long tenure in the game could not be ignored. I'm curious to see what Wild are cooking, but as of now, I'm not 100% convinced that this is the right move to make. It definitely feels like a side grade, if not a downgrade. Moving over to Team Fnatic, and it's a case of out with the new, in with the old. Kind of. Katariketti joins his old rogue teammates in Leon Gids and Deepak, and New Blood Sarks joins Fnatic after slogging it out in Tier 2 for about 3 years. However, their new pickups come at the cost of both Tyrant and Jigsaw, which doesn't make a lick of sense on paper, as Jigsaw's actually their highest rated player throughout Stage 1, only just above Jags. and Tyrion was keeping pace with the rest of the team. So replace your best rated player in Stage 1 with Stage 1's worst rated player overall? Sathis and the rest of Fnatic has to be cooking something big for this to work, otherwise this is going to backfire hard. Because right now, this feels like a massive downgrade. Kanto's history with Leon and Deepak aside, this definitely feels like the biggest risk to come out of Europe in Stage 2. Boys, make this work, please. Finally, from Out of the Breach, and I'm almost not mentioning this, given all that's already happened in the roster shuffle, but fair's fair, it's worth pointing out. ITB have parted ways with their analyst in CD, who has gone on to be the coach of NAT2 team Outlast, and they're going pretty well so far. I wish him all the best, and I hope to see him back in Tier 1 soon. And that about does it for the European leg of this Rostermania tour. Join me next time as we skip across the pond and take a look at North America. Until then, this is your resident Silverwolf, signing out.